Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into a deeply grounded, completely unflinching look at ambition, survival, and the very real toll they take on the human soul. We are breaking down the incredibly raw narrative of Sapne vs. Everyone Season 2. And let's be real, if you're feeling a little burnt out by those glossy, picture-perfect success stories that seem to flood our feeds every single day, you are in exactly the right place. So, let's get into it. Seriously, I want you to take a second and really think about this question. We live in an era that is just dominated by social media hype, right? The modern myth of instant success is sold to us on a daily basis. Hustle culture constantly tells us to just keep pushing, no matter what. But in this explainer, we're going to ask a pretty uncomfortable question. Is the heavy price we pay for our dreams actually worth it?
India Today actually hit the nail on the head when they called this show a gritty, grounded look at ambition, because that's exactly what it is. This season is basically a direct antidote to that toxic hustle culture we were just talking about. It's built for viewers who crave authentic, ground-level storytelling that chooses actual substance over flashy spectacle. It absolutely does not hide the scars that come with chasing a dream.
To really unpack the costs of success here is our roadmap. We'll cover dreams without the gloss, compare the two paths of ambition, explore middle-class morals, look at the anchors and the compass, discuss the triple threat creator, and wrap up with the heavy cost of success. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Dreams Without the Gloss, where we unmask the hustle. What I love here is that the show completely strips away the filter. Instead of instant, overnight wealth, it serves up bruises and betrayals. It shines a light on the deeply neglected pain of family sacrifices, the kind that usually happens quietly behind closed doors. But amidst all that grueling struggle, it also beautifully highlights these unbreakable middle-class bonds. It's a powerful reminder that there's this quiet, profound dignity in middle-class struggles that you almost never see on screen.
Moving right along to Section 2, Two Paths of Ambition. Jimmy versus Prashant.
This entire narrative is anchored by the wildly different moral paths of our two main guys. First, you have Jimmy Mehta, operating in the absolute cutthroat world of Gorgon real estate. He's driven by this explosive rage and a highly calculated revenge plot against his shrewd uncle, Kukraja. I mean, he even goes as far as funding a political rival just to block his uncle from a parliament ticket. Then, in a totally different universe, you have Prashant Narula in the Mumbai film industry. His path is all about quiet restraint. He's just trying to survive a barrage of audition rejections and navigate absolute fraud from casting agencies. So you've got one path that is loud and morally compromised, and another that is a quiet, grueling test of pure endurance. That brings us to Section 3, Middle-Class Morals and Choices. The burden of background. So why do Jimmy and Prashant make such extreme choices? Honestly, it all comes down to their specific middle-class roots forcing these desperate ambitions. Jimmy bends the rules entirely, yet, and this is what's fascinating, he painfully clings to whatever remnants of his conscience he has left, which makes his internal conflict so intense. Prashant, meanwhile, constantly slams into this invisible wall of privilege that keeps outsiders locked out of the film industry. It forces us as the audience to ask, how do you navigate that classic dilemma of youth, the need for money and success versus holding on to your soul in the process?
But obviously these guys don't exist in a vacuum. Let's head to Section 4, the anchors and the compass, to check out the supporting world around them.
These characters are basically surrounded by human pressure cookers and sounding boards. You've got Uncle Kukraja, played with this menacing, unfiltered cruelty by Vijanth Kohli, who just fuels Jimmy's revenge arc. Then there's Tony, who brings pure, destructive chaos into the mix. But thankfully, on Prashant's side, there is Veda. She offers a really vital balance. The subtle glances and the restrained intimacy between her and Prashant give us this much-needed, authentic, emotional grounding in a narrative that is otherwise completely chaotic. And right in the middle of all that chaos, there's this one concept that captures the philosophical core of the entire show, the unteachable art of dreaming. This brilliant idea is laid out by Sumit Sir. Sumit Sir, played with just incredible soul by Naveen Kasturia, by the way, acts as the ultimate moral compass, not just for Prashant, but really for us as the viewers. In a show that runs at such an aggressive pace, his quiet insights and his subtle guidance are this massive breath of fresh air. He basically forces the characters to stop and reflect on what they're actually running toward.
All right, moving to Section 5. We have to zoom out for a second and appreciate the architect of this universe, Ambrish Verma.
It is genuinely incredible to realize that Ambrish Verma is a literal triple threat here. As a writer, he crafts these deeply layered, believable struggles without relying on cheap thriller tropes.
As a director, he somehow extracts incredibly grounded performances from the entire ensemble. And as an actor, he completely owns the screen as Jimmy. He delivers a performance that is equal parts explosive rage and this raw, totally unexpected vulnerability. His vision is what ensures the conflicts can scale up massively, all while staying true to their very grounded roots.
Which brings us to our final section, the heavy cost of success, the breaking point.
This is where the journeys build to a devastating peak. Both men start out facing years of rejection, and that slow burn, it pushes them to desperate measures. You have Prashant trying to navigate industry fraud and Jimmy crossing the line into political manipulation. But then we hit the breaking point. The narrative takes an incredibly dark turn when Tony and Uncle Kukreja actually falsely frame Jimmy's father in a fake case, which tragically leads to his suicide. It is just a staggering cost. It backs both Jimmy and Prashant into a corner where they literally have nothing left to lose.
And so that brings us right back to where we started. When the pursuit of a dream leaves you with actual scars, betrayed by your own family, and facing unthinkable losses, are those dreams really worth the heavy personal cost? It's a profound look at the real battles of youth. Sapne versus everyone definitely doesn't hand us an easy answers, but it absolutely forces us to ask the right questions about our own ambitions. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.